The Lions are making moves, and something big is happening behind the scenes. Experienced players in the market, strategic decisions, and a different approach to free agency are making waves. With names like Azeez Ojulari, Keenan Allen, and even a potential reinforcement for the offensive line, Detroit could surprise everyone, but is the team's management making the right decisions? There's a lot at stake, and you can't miss a single detail. Leave a like, and let's dive into the latest news. The NFL is on fire with free agency, and the Detroit Lions have already made some interesting signings, including cornerback DJ Reed, linebacker Grant Stewart, and nose tackle Roy Lopez. But there's still plenty of talent available, and Detroit could take advantage of some of these opportunities. Let's look at the top 10 free agents still on the market who could be a great fit for the Lions. Azeez Ojulari would be an intriguing name to bolster the pass rush rotation. The former Giant never had a primary role, but still managed to rack up 109 pressures and 26 sacks in 46 games. He's talented and could be signed for an affordable deal, something around 2 years for $10 million. If Detroit wants experience at the position, Matthew Judon could be an option. At 33, the veteran may not be the most exciting addition alongside Aiden Hutchinson, but as a rotational piece on a 1-year, $8 million deal, he could be worth it, and he'd even return to Michigan, where he played at Grand Valley State. Another potential name is Kelvon Chaisson, a former first-round pick who has yet to break out but showed improvement in 2023 with the Raiders, recording 29 pressures and 6 sacks off the bench. Then there's Dennis Gardeck, who was performing well before tearing his ACL in Week 7. He still had a strong 2023 season with 42 pressures and 6 sacks. If he's healthy, he could be a bargain signing. On the offensive line, Brandon Scherff is still available and would be a massive upgrade to the interior OL. With Zeitler going to the Titans, a 2-year, $13 million deal could bring the 5-time Pro Bowler to Detroit. Now, if the Lions want to make a major investment in the O-line, Mekhi Becton is a name to consider. At 25, he has the potential to develop with the team, but he won't come cheap. A 3-year, $41 million contract would be the price to further solidify Jared Goff's protection. Speaking of offense, Keenan Allen is still on the market and could be a great WR3 for the Lions. He may not be the same player he was a few years ago, but he remains productive and versatile, capable of playing both in the slot and outside. For 2 years and $24.5 million, Detroit would get a reliable target to complement Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. A less high-profile but intriguing name is Lil Jordan Humphrey. He has connections with Dan Campbell and John Morton from their time with the Saints and Broncos and may still have untapped potential in the NFL. In the secondary, Rayshawn Jenkins could be an interesting addition, especially since he has already worked with Lions defensive backs coach Deshea Townsend in Jacksonville. Those were the best 2 years of his career. Another player who has been on Detroit fans' radar is Marcus Williams. He's not the same player he was when he signed with the Ravens, but as a rotational piece, he could be a worthwhile gamble. Free agency still has a lot to offer, and the Lions have solid options to strengthen their roster without jeopardizing their future. We'll see which of these players end up wearing Detroit's blue and silver. So, Lions fans, which of these potential signings excites you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But if you think the roster moves are interesting, just wait until you see why the Lions are being so cautious in this free agency. Free agency is in full swing, and while teams like the Bears and Vikings are spending fortunes, the Lions are playing it safe. So far, their biggest signing has been cornerback DJ Reed, an absolute steal, as they landed a top-tier player for about $20 million less than other top CBs on the market. They also added linebacker Grant Stewart and nose tackle Roy Lopez, but many fans are asking, why isn't Detroit opening up the checkbook and going all in on big-name stars? Well, there are 2 very clear reasons. The first one is simple. The Lions already have a roster stacked with talent. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Jahmyr Gibbs, Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Aleem McNeil, and Frank Ragnow. This isn't just a solid group for Detroit. These are players that any franchise would love to have. The second reason is even more obvious. The Lions need to pay this roster. None of these players play for free, and many of them them will soon be eligible for massive contract extensions. If you want to maintain an elite team, you need to invest in your own talent before spending big on outside reinforcements. But does spending big in free agency actually lead to success? Looking at the 10 teams that spent the most in 2024, the answer seems to be not always. The Chiefs are an interesting case. They spent heavily, but most of their money went into keeping their own players, like Chris Jones, who signed a 5-year, $158 million contract. The same goes for the Bucks, who dropped $100 million on Baker Mayfield and another $41 million to retain Mike Evans. Meanwhile, the Rams spent $48 million to re-sign Kevin Dotson and gave Jonah Jackson $51 million, only to trade him to the Bears shortly after. The Texans also spent big, finished 10-7, and are now dismantling part of the offensive line they built. In other words, spending a fortune on new players in free agency rarely translates to immediate success. What truly works? Keeping your stars and building a strong team for the long term. And that's exactly what the Lions are doing. The Lions' strategy could be smart, but it also carries some risks. Avoiding reckless spending makes sense, but could they be missing out on valuable opportunities? Meanwhile, other teams are going all in. Only time will tell if Detroit is on the right path. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Lions updates.